introduce meeting Chris, for those who haven't met Chris yet. And obviously, yeah, Chris just sort of wanted to run through what you do on a daily basis with clients and stuff like that in electrical appointments. And then obviously there's been a bit of a process change in terms of the clip spec. So Chris can dive into that a bit deeper for us and show how he does his role. And then we can start the questions and stuff like that. And maybe we can work on the process a bit better in here as well. If anyone has any questions like during, feel free. Don't be shy to ask any questions during Chris's presentation.
Cool. All right. So yes, I'm Chris. I'm one of two new electrical consultants for Marcorp. So we've looking after all electrical, heating, cooling, hot water, solar, and all sorts of weird and wonderful things now. So I suppose electrical section has grown considerably from what it was in terms of the offerings to customers and what we can do. So yep.
Standard, yeah.
Yep. So if I jump to, let me jump to my lovely little. Yeah. Yes, I am sure. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, that's cool. So with the customers now, in terms of, I suppose, extra things that we get run through with them is in terms of like their gas heating, we will go through and explain what gas heating comes with their house. We'll give them the options of going 4, 5 or 6 star, as well as the option of adding zones, Wi-Fi connectivity, extra ducts around the house. So all those things are now being discussed with the customer during their electrical appointment to find out what efficiency they want in their heater, and what sort of zoning and all those sort of things they want. So the answers to those questions now are all also therefore making their way into ClipSpec. So in ClipSpec, when a report is run, it will come up as Specialized being the supplier of our gas ducted heating, with what the requirements are of items that have been sold over and above standard for that regard of, for example, the gas heating. The same will apply for evaporative cooling. We'll go through that with the customer, giving them, the options of the base model, the SBB, which is what's set up, I think, in the framework system, as well as giving them the options of the Silhouette, Ultimate and Premiums, which are the upgraded evaporative cooling systems. So during their appointment, they can keep with the builder's model, or they can go up to the 2 models above that. Again, that will then print out on the Spec Air file to say that this particular item needs to be ordered from Spec Air.
Those, Chris, do we have those Silhouettes?
So they're on the Spec Air price list, but I don't think they've all. Not sure how. But I don't know. It was on the list that I got given of Spec Air items. So.
Send it through to us.
We'll
need to add those if they get sold.
Yep. So on the Spec Air price file, it's a fixed price upgrade from standard. So it's an extra, say $800 extra over the standard will give you the appropriate model in that range, for example. So how you guys want to set that up, I'm sure you would need to work out, but it is a separate unit. So whether you need to set it up with different outlets, different numbers, or that, but yeah.
Whatever it is, we need it so he's got to
order. Yep. Yep, no, that's all right. So there, that's the evaporative cooling side, which we cover. Split systems are gone through with them as well. The Bonaire range of split systems are set up in your system. So if they pick the Bonaire, that will come via a standard framework. If they pick the Actron Air, there will be a quote attached to the file to give the details of the purchase of the Actron Air product. Yep.
Yeah, which we've got those.
Yep. So at the moment, yep. So up until the point of them becoming official, I'm getting a actual physical quote done for you. So there'll be a quote uploaded into the production estimating quote section to give you an easy ordering of that product until it gets into the actual system. Yep. So pretty much all these things now are moving into electrical rather than being, so they'll be in that one clip spec item rather than all listed individually in the tender.
And there's the new process that drafting will then go and action this, correct?
Yeah, so that's what we've had meetings like with Hayden and Solomon have been involved, so we forgot to invite McKay, but we've been talking about the processes and stuff like that, because obviously, what was it, a few weeks ago, you know, refrigerator cooling units we're getting.
No condenser pad,
Condenser pads.
no
not
upgraded
drained.
trucks.
Yeah, so that's where, yeah, Chris sort of brought it to my attention. It was in the financial year, I remember the day.
Yes. Of all days to
Greatest
The
day
28th
all
of
time.
June.
Yeah, it was literally the 30th. It was literally the 30th of
You
June.
didn't.
Huh?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well,
So
so when I
that's-
realised, I went, hold on,
Yeah.
I think there's a step missing here. You're in the office today. I think I found a missing step in the process. So yes, we've had some quite fun meetings in the meantime, trying to fill in those steps. But yeah, pretty much everything to do with all of these items will now move their way into clip spec. So again, if the customer makes a change, it's a one document to be taken in, put out, rather than sort of having to make change to multiple things. With the ducted air conditioning, we are still offering the add-on systems from Spec Air, and they are set up in framework already as they have been. The main difference on those at the moment is the 20 kilowatt has just been moved to a 5-star heater as standard, because Bonaire have decided that it no longer works with a 4-star. So anyone with the 20 kilowatt has to upgrade to a 5-star heater to get that.
That's not gonna item.
Has anybody got any emails from Becky about that, jobs on site at the moment? Because I feel like I've had about a few. Yeah, so we need to pass on the cost of,
For the 5-star.
so whatever's like being, or I felt like just saying, just give them the 4-star. And we'll start doing the 5-star, like on
Depends on-
the
Is it just big?
I think the cost difference is only 500 bucks.
years of 5.
So like 13.9 went to 14.4.
So we're gonna wear it.
That's not my decision.
Yeah,
That'll be
yeah,
stuff.
anyway, that was just a trigger, yeah.
But that's been updated.
I am-
data build for
Yeah.
this now.
So jobs coming through the system. So if a job comes through electrical now and they've got the 4-star with the 20 kilowatt, I'm upgrading that customer to a 5-star during their appointment if they wish to keep that system. If they change systems, then obviously it becomes null and void. But if they are saying, no, we want to keep that system,
Yeah.
then I'm just saying, look, the manufacturer's is discontinued the one in your program. We now need to do it with this model.
Yeah.
So there is that extra $600 charge to the customer. So yeah, I'm picking that up on jobs moving forward. Obviously, it'll just be an issue with jobs that are on site or ones which have been up into Spec Air confirming that it doesn't work, which they really should have come to us, because I actually sent them an email before your thing came out and said, put in the brochure, it doesn't work with 5-star, so it doesn't work with 4-star. And they've obviously gone to come up on site and gone, oh, maybe we should have read the brochure. And they're supposed to be the you know, the people for that. But anyway, so add-on cooling, not really something that we're pushing through the electrical department. It is there. If customers have pre-picked it with sales or they ask for it, then we can do it. But not a product that we're doing a push on through the electrical. We're looking at trying to move more customers to reverse cycle as opposed to add-on. The main difference with that is an add-on system is when you've got your gas heater and you connect a refrigerator cooler together to it. So often use a thing like you've got your car and your trailer. So you've got two devices that work together. With that, a lot of the times they work quite well, but there are some issues with add-on cooling with over freezing of the fan coil if you don't have enough airflow over it, which is why they force you to have that common zone with the add-on system to try and reduce the errors in airflow limitations. Whereas the reverse cycle, I think, is more like your I know your ute. So you've, instead of having the trailer, you've got your utes. Everything's in one vehicle. So therefore, it talks to itself much easier than when you've got two units talking to each other. With the reverse cycle, we're currently offering two options. The classic is, I suppose, the base unit. This is designed for either 1 or 2 zones, depending on the size of the house and what they want to achieve. It's more a fixed speed unit, so it's designed to do a particular area and not really modulate what it's doing in terms of airspeed or power consumption. The model up from that is the Advance, and this is the one that's giving the customer the ability to add up to 8 zones into their house. So you can pretty much have each room individually controlled. You can have a thermostat in each room. You can even run different temperatures in each room at the same time. So this gives great flexibility in what you want to do. Inverter driven, so energy efficient moving forward. Full electric, so no need to worry about scoring gas prices. Phone connectivity, sort of, you know, all singing or dancing, 100% Australian owned and made. So gives a much more flexibility to what the gas systems give. So we no longer have that common zone issue, which from a lot of customers, they go, what do you mean my family kitchen meals area must always be running? I said, well, we can get rid of that, but you've got to change systems. So that's where your reverse cycle, I suppose, gives you a step up over the add-on. Slightly more expensive, not hugely now that the add-on pricing has been fixed. But yeah, slightly more expensive on the reverse cycle than the add-on, but a much better product, and will save the customer a lot of money moving forward on their energy bills. So that's
They get with.
well, their electricity bill will go up less and their gas bill goes down. So
I
the
used to have an all electric gas one a long time ago.
it was sure before everything was efficient though, wasn't it? So my house at home, I run a full electric home. I've got no gas to my house. I got friends who recently pulled out the gas system and replaced it with actually one of these reverse cycles, and their energy bill has gone down $400 a month. We're moving to reverse cycle from the gas heating, with it running, you know, all day, every day. So that's, yeah. So I suppose some new products coming in. Hot water is another area where we're now offering the customer more choice, more options. So as standard, you've been running the Chromogen or Medea solar gas hot water systems. They're our heat pump options.
Yeah, those.
No, so they're through him, not Chromogen do have heat pumps as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
they're
but these steeple ones are from
Pat.
TAC.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Are they quoted?
at the moment.
At the moment, they will. I haven't been getting them actually done with a quote, but it does bring up the pricing for those on the clip spec printout.
So you might need to check if any of them have been ordered, if we still in
I
the
feel
hot
like,
water service.
I feel like we clarified it saying this item doesn't exist. I felt like the sales staff made asked me about it and I said, what the hell is that? We don't know.
Might have some upset customers. So difference being your Medea made in China, your Steve Electron made in Germany. So we're going German made as opposed to Chinese made. We're going full electric again as opposed to gas. We're going 2 showers simultaneously as opposed to one at a time. We're also getting rid of the requirement for solar panels on the roof. So less plumbing, less pipe work, less gas connection points needed. So, and these run on a standard single power point. They don't need a 15 or 20 amp power point, the same as the Chromogen ones do. So they only draw 2.4 amps. So they will plug into a normal. So we don't need dedicated circuits or any of those fun things with the Steve Electron heat pumps either, which is helpful. They can be connected directly into your inverter if you're putting PV solar on the house, and then they turn into a pseudo battery. And what that means is when the inverter is exporting power to the grid, it'll turn the hot water system on and make the water in the system extra hot, so that it's sort of overheating the water while you're making energy for free. So therefore, when you turn your hot water tap on, you're using less hot water as you bring it down to the required temperature. So your tank will last longer with no extra cost of heating. You actually find a lot of these because I reckon 80% of our customers are changing hot water systems. Because of their energy efficiency, they also override the rainwater tank or recycled water requirements. So we can change the Stiebel brand without requiring a rainwater tank or a recycled water to the house.
So you can take the panels off.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they
Good to know.
so that's how our competition, who's currently advertising all electric homes, that's how they're getting away with the all electric home option. They've put these heat pumps to all their new houses they're running, because it gets away from the requirement of the NCC clause. Yeah, and then it's null and void.
Till they move the dock.
But Stiebel Electron have spent tens of thousands of dollars to get their product approved to bypass NCC. So they had to go through and get all sorts of experts in every field known to man, and then even more when they come back. What about one of these people? What do they say? So I've literally got everyone to go through and say, please explain how an item which is so much more energy efficient is non-compliant. And so they've paid a fortune to get it because they gave up waiting for NCC to update their paperwork. They'll be on the list of items to be added officially to that, but
It depends on how they're gonna be ordered. If they're gonna be ordered as a clip spec quote item, then this. And if that's only the way they're gonna be ordered, then we don't need to add them to data. But if they need to be ordered through a regular process, like if this is gonna be available to a customer sales, for example.
there is discussion with procurement on making these the new standard at some stage.
Yeah, so when that comes through and if it goes in as something that's selectable by a client without seeing you through clip spec, for example, then we need it.
Yeah, because again, when customers are going full electric homes,
Yeah.
so if they're doing that through sales without an appointment, the look will be to sort of move them to this for that
Yeah.
option as well.
Yeah, then we're gonna need it.
So these ones will need, because they're same price every time. So these ones are a bit easier than some of the other options for that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I have put these so they will price on the, so when you run the trade doc, the ducted air cons will come up with no pricing against them because it's a quoted item.
Yeah.
This will come up with the buy price against it on the trade doc. So anything, so advanced living is all fixed pricing. The trade doc will come up with their buy price against all the items. Spec air, because things vary a little bit, theirs is set to no pricing because you will just order that as you've done before. At least we'll tell you the items. With these, I set the heat pumps up to come up with pricing. Everything that's a quoted item that you need to refer to a quote is coming up on that document as 0 to say refer to quote. At this stage, until we work out if we do anything differently in that regard.
And those quotes are saved like in the electrical folder.
So they will be wherever they work out with the new chain, with the new, where we're going to save the trade docs when they run them. But they will come up with those details in there.
Yeah, oh, just like with the quotes, like if
Yeah.
there's the
I can otherwise.
cycle or something like that,
Yep.
they're not gonna save it, because like they're gonna save it like in the final document.
Yep.
I think, well, that's.
Do you want me for, in terms of, I suppose, until we get things fully up and running,
Mm.
do you want me to get just a default quote? So it doesn't necessarily mean to specify to that house, but just, if we sell a heat pump, we just drop a default heat pump quote into production estimating? Is that?
Yeah. Not at the production estimate.
But it'll be the correct price.
It'll be the correct price.
Yeah, so I can get like, order one WWK 222 heat pump from Pact for, $2,500 and just drop that into each one up until it makes its way to
So we can order it in-
the system.
Yeah.
If that makes life easier for you guys to,
I think that's probably the best way, at least if it's in the folder.
Because trade docs is never even saved in the trade docs folder.
Yeah, well, that's why I had a meeting with, so that's the whole process as well, so.
I think it's making this easy.
so I've been, so with jobs so far in production estimating, for example, on this job here, they've got an AC system in there. So this has got your quote, your market plan, and everything for the aircon. And then it's also got PV solar in this particular job, so that you've got your quote and plan for PV solar. So,
Can you go back to the essay?
yep. So in here, you've got the market plans for drafting. You've got your quote to order from in both Word and PDF format, depending on if you wanted to copy paste. It's obviously easier to copy paste from Word than it is from a PDF.
Yep.
So you've got your quote in both. So there, I suppose, for your ordering purposes, the top one and the bottom one are for drafting stuff. So because there's 4 documents, I'll be making a subfolder AC quote.
Yeah.
Rather than them getting lost between how many
Yeah.
quotes may end up in that folder.
Yeah, okay.
So if we open this, and then comes up with job number, job address, what's going in and
How much?
how much you have to pay.
Well, that's just for the, reverse
On the bill, on the, yes, yeah. Yeah, so on this one here, if we run the thing, it'll come up with order a actual advance, no cost on the trade bomb, because we're referring to a quoted document. Because I can't,
Can you possibly bring up the?
The trade-
spec?
131074, yep.
So we can.
131074.
Just basically, yeah, will it have the, will it state anything in the front or must we go every item?
31074. So it's our house, so the customer's $50,500 worth. So on your trade bomb, so we want a contractor, categories. So I suppose what we're saying at the moment, the plan was to run that, and that, which are the capitalized ones, other things which are non-electrician, things in lowercase are all electrician. So the idea at the moment was to run those 4 as one bomb. We've got,
That's where I was just thinking you should do each one. That's an opinion. That way they're not having to think through each one.
but if I do this for now, then just we'll see what that, how easy or hard, because otherwise you've got to open, you know, to me, if you're making your,
Because Hayden was saying, look, it's gonna take too long to save each one.
Who's doing it?
Right.
Drafting it, have got the clips back.
Yep.
The last few
Yeah.
months.
so on here, so Pact Home Solutions. So this is our heat pump to solar connection. It's $150. The heat pump itself, 3,250. And then this is the stuff for the reverse cycle, all coming in at $0 because that needs to be preferred a quote. PV solar at the moment, I've also got as preferred a quote. It's not set up in the system.
So the
That's-
refer to quote's not set up yet? Like it doesn't say refer to quote? What does it say?
No.
There's $0.
Anything, so $0. So therefore, there should be a find a quote to match it. The
Line for line would be it. No.
So I suppose you're looking, so the first thing would be just the top headings. And then the things, so that this top heading here, so everything in this 1 to 8 all comes from the supplier pact. The next item here comes from advanced living, undergrounds, and in this case, then joinery. I needed to do some recessing to the cabinetry for the LED lights.
That was missed up. So.
So we're now, yeah, we're
Was it
now,
an extra or was it not done on the plans?
Well, it wasn't done on the architectural.
It wasn't even so it would be mixed.
Yeah, so it was completely missed.
Done.
So now I guess that was my next thing, like,
So-
well, we're gonna put that, gonna have to potentially start giving KI like electrical. How many jobs do you think you're selling the LED strips for under overheads?
Getting a few.
Linear meter rate though.
It
Yeah.
is a little
Yeah.
bit, right? Well, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
it's
saying.
a
We're
rate.
missing it on the PO. that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
what I mean.
So it won't, it's not on the plans.
So on our plans,
And
we
not
missed it on the
purchase.
PO, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So we've only just added, so with the discussion of, oh, we need this. I've since therefore got it added to clip specs, at least we can charge the customer for it.
But that's where drafting, if they've got these documents, then should be going updating the plans to suit.
I don't know if they'll, yeah.
Because that's, well, it's
Yeah.
exactly the same as trusses, it's exactly the same
Yeah.
as condenser pads, in my opinion. That they.
To
should
me,
be-
drafting need to look at every, there's something, there'll be 98% of the clip spec jobs coming through, will have something drafting need to know
Yeah.
about. So to me, drafting need to read every electrical plan for every job.
So they give a blank electrical.
The
That's what
drafting,
they
yeah,
want.
drafting don't redraw electrical. But obviously on the elevations for the cabinetry, in this case, they'll need to note for KI to strip it out. So the two ways where I suppose got for that now is one, we're now having the discussion with the customer is, do you want it recessed? Or are you happy with it just stuck on the bottom and surface mounted? So if you don't want to pay for the routing it out and you're happy for it just to be mounted to the bottom of the cupboard, we can just service mount it rather than recess it.
Happy to do that.
Should be the same thing, but I was meant to have a meeting with one of them this afternoon, but it got moved, but
But that's just because the process of us having it is it's cleaner.
Mm.
It doesn't. We never. So the problem I'm gonna have is it's gonna get done and then they're gonna go back and fucking fix it. Because they've missed this, for example. Whereas, and it's not gonna be, it was always charged at a rate that was inclusive of that. So it always covered that off.
because in the, for some reason, the way the electricians charge for the LED strip is up to 5 meters. They don't charge a per meter rate either, just to make life difficult.
Yeah, but that's where it was always covering an undermount and that's because in framework, we had that covered off in both. So we covered both in the cost to the client. So that's why I'm saying by just working off clip spec, that's where it's lacking. You know what I mean? So now you've covered the cost of it there.
Yep.
Yeah. So whereas in a retail world, it was already sorted.
So what you're saying is that the price in here, the LED strip should include enough to cover the.
Yeah. Okay. The panel. Grab it, it's another.
Same as what you do for a.
No. That pricing is not 30%. That's 30% of the high price. That's not. That doesn't include routing costs. Because at that price, given that that's 5 meters worth and you're charging $80 a meter to route it.
Working all together.
I've had a few where we've hit the 5 meters.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's something to look at backwards. But yeah, at the moment, that price to me doesn't include enough money to cover routing. But yeah, that was the, I don't know. Sure.
Any questions? Yes. We'll look here and the tips and quotes on the screen.
The electrical one for the that same.
So that's that one. And then the electrical, so then the idea would be,
And the electrician one will be separate. This, at least we can just.
And yeah,
And all make one.
yeah.
Yeah.
The way they've always done it.
It's just if they have upgraded, you know, good systems.
So after it will be the quote folder.
Hmm.
Because if it's not in there, we're not gonna put it in.
Yeah, well, that's where we need
Because
to,
there's no tendency stating that these extras are actually anywhere.
It's from.
yeah, that's where we need to check the,
If there'll still have to be a PCB or something raised to charge client for the clip spec.
yeah, so.
From that point, you still need to then look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to look at electrical.
So if it's like $30,000, like this one, like
Yeah.
you saw the charge to the client was $50,000, you know,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a lot of.
Yeah.
Different things. It's not gonna be, just electrical
Are
stuff.
they not just putting the electrical?
So when they say, well, we're talking about when we're saving the trade ones.
Yeah.
They get different stages, like Solomon, and Hayden, that should be, so I. We're ordering for the electrician, and then one that's for.
Trade on for the electrician?
Yeah, trade top, that's electrician, so we can do it as per we've always done.
It's not basically.
And then there'll be another one if there's pack there, spec there,
Yeah.
three phase power.
Trade off.
Yes, and that one, that's the one we'll have to go through with that one.
Yeah.
So if it's whatever, we go to the adoptable document and add it.
Yeah.
Next one,
And
add.
then if it's a quote, just copy paste the quote, put in the $19,000. And then, yeah, if it's reverse cycle, need to make sure that we're allocating the supply to back there. Does go to spec. The heating and cooling, anything that's Actron, needs to go to pack there.
Will that be in the quote? Will it show?
Yeah.
Well, that's
So-
the heading.
Yeah,
It's the squeeze.
yeah, so they're already set up the data build, so like, I don't know if you've noticed in the heating and cooling costs, and if you click on it, like the spec air and then it's packed.
So pretty much it.
Or packed home solutions.
Yeah.
Back home is the.
Yeah.
And then solar is also, so let's go back to, so client bomb just now, that one, contractor bill. So this one here is your electrician bill. So 13,691 and 35 cents will go to the electrician. So it's got your switches, PowerPoints, TV data. They've bought, this one's bought a cabinet upgrade. This one I haven't updated from our discussion earlier to take that out, so I'll fix that up again. Heat lamps, smoke detectors,
Oh, no need.
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
so everything the electrician needs, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That was the whole idea of bringing the spec back in.
yeah. Yeah, so you'll have, so the one for the electrician,
Yeah. Again,
you'll just be able to grab
Yeah.
the total figure here. And then
And
the
it
one,
doesn't include GST.
yes, extra GST.
Yeah, can we fix that? up?
But do you want that figure extra GST or including, what's it is?
I want it, we want it to say excluding.
Excluding.
Yeah, so the only way we could fix it, I believe, is actually going to put all the prices in with GST, and then it would be the correct price, including GST.
Or just grab the number that's on there.
They are the, they
Yeah.
are,
So this is the ex-GST price, but it says including.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the way that the default software is, you're meant to put in apparently the price into the system with GST,
No, that's-
but
They wanted to know.
no one,
They wanted to know what we paid for everything. That was the difference.
but yeah,
Cool, so that stays as.
but yeah, so that will, otherwise it'll give you, it's a bit of work, but otherwise we can give it as an including GST, but then you'd have to work backwards because on your POs, you want to enter the ex-GST figure. So,
That is the ex-GST figure.
correct, yeah, yeah. So it's, yeah, other than, yeah, just,
Yeah,
I've told them 50 times, I'm like, give us exclusive.
yeah.
Yeah. It's probably, yeah, because 2000.
yeah, so you literally, you'll have your two quotes now. One to divide up between the other people, unless things change again, and then one for the electrician. So you can just refer to that electrician one as, yeah, one, you know, supply as per $13,000.
Yeah.
So that's hopefully, yeah. I have requested from Clipsal. We'll see how, if their team can do it. I've requested from them the ability to actually have the system automatically generate the multiple suppliers at the same time. But obviously that's got to go back through their development team to see how that can work in their system in the back end. But the request has been raised to them to say, we want to just hit a button and it generates 5 contractor reports at the same time. So that has been requested back to them. How long, if, what, where, when, who knows, but the request has been given to them. This would make life easier if you could do this for us. So yeah, that's that. Back to my little other things. If my PowerPoint wants to wake up again. Oh no, we're over here. Oh, that's why. Oh no, we're sharing screen. Why aren't we not? There it is. So yeah, hot water, stable electrons come on board. PV solar is now also, I think he's not wanting to freeze. What we're doing there, but anyway, PV solar is also now moved to Pact from Bradford's. So all PV jobs will now be going through Pact as well, not through Bradford's.
Are they having to raise variation to change it? Or you're doing that same setup?
It's on the power, what is it, 370 watts per panel?
Oh, so we're now up to 470 watts per panel.
80?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
change all the time. That's
Yeah.
what-
Yeah, so with yeah, so I suppose all new jobs coming through now will be offered the Pact solar options as opposed to what was Bradford's. Bradford's have been informed that their contract for solar has finished. And what we're sort of doing with our discussion with customers now is we're specifying the inverter brand. So whether it's we're offering them 2 brands of inverter. Let's just see if I can reopen. So we're offering GoodWe and SMA Sunny Boy as our 2 brands of inverter now. That's as much as we're giving them in terms of exact branding and stuff of what's being installed in their home. So panel wattage and that is all subject to change because the PV world moves that fast. I got a quote for PV for my house in January, and then I got it done again just a couple of months ago. And the panels have increased by 50 watts a panel just between those 2 quotes I got for my own home. So what we guarantee is the minimum size of panels. So 2 kilowatts, 4 kilowatts, or 6 kilowatts worth of panels, you will get at least 6. So you might get 6.1, you might get 6.2, you might get 6.3. We're guaranteeing a minimum of 6 kilowatts worth of panels, just because the maths keeps changing based on the exact panels and that sort of thing. So brand wise, we're only really specifying, would you like GoodWe or Sunny Boy for your inverter? Everything else will depend on what's going in the marketplace at the time. GoodWe, Asian made, 5-year warranty, the 6 kilowatts fan cooled, so it's a little bit noisier. SMA Sunny Boys, 10-year warranty, European made, passively cooled, so they're a quieter inverter. Is sort of the difference in terms of why do I want to pay an extra, I don't know, $1,300? That's sort of the main difference.
What I find funny is that now you're actually selling the Asian stuff, whereas you're selling the trying to sell the German stuff before you're the Asian stuff.
You got options. Well, you've still got options on your hot water. You can still keep your Medea hot water system. You want this or you want this? Do you want this or this? So the customer can make their choice. Battery wise, we brought in Sunon. So we're now offering Sunon as a battery brand. We still do have the Teslas if they really want to buy a Tesla because it's called a Tesla. But the Sunons have a better or more efficient buy price point for us. So we can offer batteries at a cheaper price by going Sunon. And they're smaller, more efficient, cheaper. The Evo 10 also is rated for outside install. So if it's a job where we have to put the battery outside for some reason, the Evo 10s can go outside. They're fully IP rated. The 9.53s are an inside only battery.
Worth $5,000. To go half kilowatt more.
Between here and here.
Yeah.
Well, there's a 7.5 and a 12.5.
No, yeah. Well, I'm just looking at the price difference to go from 9.53.
So 5 kilowatt, 7.5, 12.5.
Yeah.
So they're sort of in order 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5.
Bottom number, same.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at too.
I was thinking it was 9.53 versus 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then you're paying time.
No.
That's your 5 to 10. It's
Yeah.
the model. It's not the 9.53 is the model for some weird reason.
But that's
A bit like
that one, obviously on the 3
So-
as well.
Yeah,
So how come the 10, is it 10, if you set the 10s external,
Yep.
is it 12.5? or
No,
not?
so they're the 9.53 models.
Yep.
Are internal only. The Evo model is internal or external.
Okay.
Yeah. Not that it really matters too much for you guys, but just in terms of that, the Evo has built-in power backup. So again, if you pick the Evo, it comes with power backup as standard for the home. If you pick the 9.53, it's a $733 upgrade to the customer for battery, to have a backup to keep the fridge working in a power failure. Or as one customer said, was it the fridge, the TV, and the internet. So you can have, watch the football, have a cold beer.
Could be the extra
Netflix with.
Yeah, so they were apparently the 3 things that are needed. So that's Slight difference, just single story, double story, slight adjustment in price. We are also offering wiring provisions now as well, for them to look at putting solar on in the future, but it's all cabled, ready to go. So that's another, item that will be in there. And again, on the bill of materials, we'll come up with a price against it, because it's the same for every single job. Layout drawn for drafting, that I've just left it with the quotes to make life easy.
So that's just the wiring, yeah?
Yep.
So then realistically, if they would need to know trusses to be upgraded, another charge, you get what I mean? There might need to be a final figure, not just the wiring.
Yeah.
Because then you need to upgrade your meter box as
Be
well,
upgraded just to
upgraded meter
panel
box,
installation.
upgraded trusses, just other things that I think of.
Do we have an item? Because I found obviously in the system, there's 3-phase with meter box upgrade.
Yep.
But I couldn't find in the system where there is a meter box upgrade on a single phase job.
That's the same price for that. There's a meter box upgrade price. We just stated it was for 3-phase realistically.
So the
It
$1,200,
was actually state solar, I thought.
Right, the look.
because there's now
The same meter box that you upgrade for a single phase is still the same as what you use. if
yeah,
you
but
run
the
a
item
three-phase
in
system.
framework at the moment says upgrade meter box and house to 3-phase
No,
for $1,200.
There was,
So you just want to upgrade.
there is a meter box only price. It's probably not in
Yeah, probably not in the VPP.
upgrade single phase meter box to be 48 volt for solar panel.
Price?
Cost? $200.
Do you have a sell or you just a cost?
Hey,
Did you have a sell, what you, a retail or just
That's
put the
it.
margin on it?
Retail.
Yeah. No, that's all right. So 200 is cost.
Yeah.
So that plus
Yeah.
30% margin. Yeah, cool. That's all right. Times 1.1 divided by 0.7.
Or multiply by 1.57. Same thing.
Cool. No, that's good. I can,
give you that. I'll be okay too if you want.
no, yeah,
240.
Yep.
5.1.
1.
Oh.
Cool. Beautiful. Majority of homes these days with everything with electricians are wanting it going 3-phase anyway. So, pretty much as soon as they do anything in their house, now it's, we're pushing to 3-phase. So you'll find that a lot more homes are coming through now as 3-phase than ever before, because the electricians apparently kept rejecting them on site saying this house has got too many amps. We don't want to build it on single phase. And
I think when I started that, yeah, 3-phase was a bit of an issue.
so,
So we started capturing it more on our end, because there was a couple of issues out on site.
yeah, so
So that's.
it'll be in the spec.
So the heading was undergrounds, yeah.
Yeah.
So underground, so it triggers us to go to the power supply customer. Or, yeah, change it to 3-phase.
Undergrounds provide 3-phase upgrade.
So how is this gonna look in the tender, right?
It's gonna say refer to.
Say refer to spec.
That's where we have to now
So
dive
it's-
to the,
Check the.
we have to dive into the clip spec quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So all of this, will be in, rather than finding it through the tender, it'll be, hopefully not too difficult. But everything will now be, moved into here. The other item that we're added in, joys of all the new fandangle things, is we now also can offer centralized ventilation systems for the customer's house. So this is going to become more and more a thing as we move towards 7-star, and the houses are that airtight they don't breathe anymore. So this brings air from outside into the home via a heat exchanger. So it doesn't therefore bring, they have the window open to get fresh air into your home, and remove old air out of your home. Brings it through asthma approved filtration system. So if you've got, high allergies.
Bad for now.
Everyone's thinking, how do we order this?
Don't-
So this again,
They have to actually go through him to get it.
Is that-
this is packed stock, yep.
Yeah.
So there will be a standard offering, which has got a fixed price. And if they want anything different to that, then it will be a house by house application.
other trades have to be involved to do this?
No. So it's pretty much just from the point of install, it's like putting in another ducted aircon. So it's just ductwork run around the house through a box that looks like a fan coil that works as a heat exchanger to bring air in and out of the home. So the idea is to bring fresh air into like bedrooms and stuff.
Like
So-
we have in here.
Yeah.
Realistically,
Yeah.
You
So
have to
it's,
have that in commercial.
I think, yeah.
That's why you get fresh air into here.
yeah. So yeah, so it's pretty much giving that option to people to put in their home. Well, some people don't like opening the window.
And you open the
It's hot
window,
outside.
You open the window and it lets either super hot air in or super cold air in. The heat exchanger
Yeah.
doesn't,
Depends if you're near like a.
Doesn't change the
refrigerator or
temperature.
Something.
It also runs it through a filtration system. So if you've got like, pollen issues and, looking at a flower makes you sneeze, then this is the system for you. So this is,
sign me up and lock
yeah,
me door.
this is, they're going to be the main people which look at buying something like this, the people which have got very high allergies. It's not something we're going to see, we don't expect to see a great deal of these
So-
come through. We apparently may need to be looked at a bit more when it comes to moving houses to 7 stars with the physical lockingness of a 7-star house, to whether or not the house will actually be able to breathe enough to not get condensation issues. And this sort of something like this will fix that side of things if we get those issues when we move to 7-star homes. But yeah, in the meantime, we're pushing the customer to pay for it. But another, so it replaces 2 extraction fans, which is why the difference in my sell pricing between the 2, but pretty much, it's $7,000 to, option to cover 4 bedrooms in the home. So not a cheap thing.
The extraction fans are included within that,
So this will put 2 extraction fans in, yep.
so then they can take them out of.
Correct. So that's the difference between those 2 is removing 2 extraction fans, correct? Which also from a build point of view, we've just removed 2 access points. 2 flues are no longer required to get those exhaust fans out of the house either.
Where does it go? Through the filtration.
Through the filtration system. So it actually,
Does that have its own penetration through the roof?
it will have,
Where does that air go?
yeah, we'll have its own penetration system. Yep. But we no longer have them having to line up with directly above the showers, for example. You can now
That'll
be
all run into the.
into that and then either out the roof or out of an eave, depending on the
Yeah.
house design. So that's the options depending on the house to what they can do. So that's, of the new addition. We haven't really pushed fireplaces, but fireplaces obviously are in your standard system. So we've got them, but we haven't.
So long as those are the models.
So taken purely out of framework. Copy paste. Copy paste from framework.
Regular real flame.
Okay, there's.
Yeah, we've got roof on this one.
So,
Yeah,
so these were
Oh,
the,
they're the real flame ones, yeah.
yeah, so these are the 4 from Jetmaster that are in your system.
Oh, okay, so you're pushing both, okay.
Well, I'm not pushing, actually, I'm not technically pushing any of them, but,
Got no advantage.
obviously with you guys, they're, external wall only built out of house, so you're only giving them customers one option with where it goes. If someone goes up and goes, oh, I want to, I forgot to say I wanted a fireplace, then, at least they've got someone to discuss that with now. Yes, so that's all the things that will come through with electrical.
Did you want to sort insulation there, did you?
Oh, so insulation hasn't really, they're looking at moving that apparently across to us from a efficiency point of view. At the moment, insulation's still being pushed by the colour team. So that hasn't actually moved across to, but they're
So
looking
that
at,
won't be in the clip spec quote just yet?
not yet.
Because I think you mentioned that.
That was,
going to be in there,
They're possibly looking at who sells that
okay.
and how that exactly works.
So they'll be in the tender.
At the moment, that's still, with colours. So that will still appear as normal part of the colour tender.
Yep.
If procurement decide that that's changing, we'll let you know.
Let us know, yes.
But at the moment, we should be getting some new insulation boards from Bradford's very soon, which will help obviously hopefully push the upgrades of insulation, which will obviously then help reduce Markup's costs on maintaining 6-starter homes, because the more things the customer buys, the less things that we have to do to get that house back to 6 stars.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good in that regard, but yeah. So I haven't actually done anything with that yet, other than I was having fun sort of going, what things am I needing to put in this? So that's that. We do have set up, so each house will get its own layout done from a drafting point of view. We do also have master layouts done for every house type in the Marcorp range, for kilowatts required, litres per second required, and ductwork required for refrigerated cooling.
For you.
For Actron systems, yep.
Yeah.
Which really shouldn't be any different for add-on, but for some reason they don't like putting very many outlets into homes. So you will notice the outlet count increases.
Yeah, but
with the
then
Actron system.
you've got, depending on what system it is, you've got a remote for each zone too.
Oh, we can run sensors. We can run sensors
No.
per zone.
That's the difference, probably. Realistically, they've only got the one unless they're upgrading. Why you need it.
So that there, we've now got all the, everything from advanced living is now also, I suppose, being pushed through us, which, again, just to, I suppose, cover off the things that we will be running through with customers. So ducted vacuum systems are all being, pushed through electrical. Yep.
And better bags too.
Don't tell Bronwyn, she loves ducted vacuuming. One of the kids has upset her because he said, no, I'm not putting it in my house. The other one said, yes, mum. Alarm systems, going through there, intercoms, CCTV. No, this is all
in the system.
This should all be, this will be in clip spec, but is also all in the system.
Yeah.
Um,
That's all.
So then the alarm.
Yeah.
Security.
so that's, I think, all been updated to their latest offering, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
Well done. So we've now got, for example, provision for CCTV now is an official item, rather than trying to make it up. We've actually now got an official item for CCTV, etc. We can do provision for speakers. We can supply and install speakers. We can put in full-on music systems. We can stick the antenna on the roof. We can.
There's actually an electrician that did it. Not there.
We can now do. We've got the provision for surround sound. Cabling provisioning for HDMI cables, and then full-on home theatre packages with projectors. Even as high as, you know, if you really want to get excited, 4K Sony, only $36,000 to the customer.
No, that's cost.
No,
That's,
that's that's sell price.
what's this?
That's the retail.
That's the retail price.
Okay.
The sell price would be up here somewhere hidden.
So this is docked for the client.
This is docked for the client, yes, so that when, especially with a virtual appointment, I can sort of go through, okay, which ones do you want?
Here you go. Have a
Without
look.
having to then try and talk to them about pricing when I'm virtually. Yeah, so then, or with TV. So we're offering both 75 and 85 inch TV supply and install
Oh,
options
with the
now.
TV.
With the TV, yep,
Got these in.
That,
Yeah.
yep,
yeah,
Yeah.
they should all be in there.
So it's amazing what I can do when I'm being given information.
But yeah,
My job's so much easier.
so yeah, so they're, they've all got items in clip spec. So the items will go in by that, but they're also all set up in the system for these side of things. So yeah, they're the, I suppose, the things that will get, you know, run through with the customer during their appointment. Yeah, so yeah, questions, things, total confusion now.
All of the above.
It's probably
Yeah.
have to let it all sink in, especially, yeah, just the ordering process, just, yeah,
I just
obviously.
think probably still, if it's still spec air, then it probably should get Sean.
Yeah, so I guess like with zones and stuff like that, like since we're still double checking zones and if it works and all that sort of stuff, well, I guess if it's reverse cycle and it's Actron, then we know it's gonna work.
Yep.
But if it's in the tender. from
So with,
sales,
if the
well,
customers have gone through Studio with like, for example, that, then I'll discuss the zoning options with them during the appointment
so-
and that'll all get written onto
It'll
the
still
spec
be in
plan.
your quote, yeah.
Yep, it'll
It's
go.
only mainly if it comes from
So
sales.
that's a good question. Does Spec Air get a copy of the spec plans?
Yeah, they do.
Good,
Yeah.
because that information now will all be written onto the plan.
Yeah.
To say that they're getting a 4-star heater with 16 kilowatt add-on cooler.
And they'll
Common zone is this, variable zones are this. They've upgraded to a radio frequency, controller, or they've requested the controller on this location. That will all get noted on their ClipSpec plans.
But we still need to make sure that the zones work with Sean.
Which ones though? If it's just come from sales? I think between you and Sean need to probably catch up and discuss.
Because I wanna obviously.
Yeah,
just
to me, I think,
Obviously, I wanna get it to the point where we don't have to email.
Yeah,
Sean and just know that everything works. And we can just.
it's more so that sales come back saying, oh, I want ground floor, first floor. Doesn't work. When it's an add-on, it's got 4, obviously, you need certain amount of air going over the coil. But that's why it's always, because the standard add-on comes with 4 zones, yeah? So, but then they just go on ground floor, first floor. And it doesn't work when the return air's down on the ground floor or the return air's on the first.
that's
floor.
fine, but we're moving it to reverse cycle.
Yeah.
So you want to do that, fine, but we're changing your system.
And here's 15 grand.
Although based on the new pricing, it's actually not that much bad, not as bad as it was. Because the add-ons cooling have gone up by about $5,000 or $6,000 in the last month, which is now makes us make profit on them rather than selling them at cost, which I reckon we were. But yeah, so that makes the change to reverse cycle, and especially if they only want to go, for example, 2 zones. If they want 2 zones one at a time, we possibly could even get the reverse cycling cheaper than what their add-on is. So
It's just that's where I think when you look at, to me, I look at that and go, you've got the first floor turned off, it's 35 degrees outside. You think when you swap it over, you think it's going to work straight away?
to me, I
Come back
know
from
my thing. I've been going to sales. If a customer's wanting, air conditioning and stuff, even if they're 8 homes, whatever, they're spending more than $3,000. Just book them in for an appointment. That's what I've been sort of pushing to sales, going, if if they're wanting this in their home, why aren't they having an appointment? Because they're already spending enough to meet the appointment by saying I want air conditioning.
Yeah,
You've met-
$750 for free.
You've met your minimum spend. So why are you trying to work out something you've got no idea about and then upsetting everyone?
Quick goes to site.
They get commission off their, so what
What if they get? Can they work with allowances for commission or not?
So that's where it gets pulled back as well. So there's talks, that's different. That's something altogether different.
What happens when we pull it out of their sales quote?
That's why, that's the reason.
No, but when we pull out what they've actually sold them, because they come in.
Well, they've sold it to the client already. There's a lot of grey area about that.
All they need is commission on the entire build at a lower rate.
That's-
And then there's no, who cares how it got there? Your customer made it to the finish line. But anyway, that's different department. But yeah, I suppose hopefully once, it's obviously changes all over the place. I suppose hopefully, once we've got over the speed humps of the differences, it makes life a little bit easier because everything is back to one document. So when there's changes, everything can be made back on the one, contract variation changes are, delete, item data this, put in new item data this, rather than, we've got to take that out, change this, move that. So everything is then just always referred back to one master document rather than trying to find things in multiple places. Same with the meeting this morning, when they're, contract variation going, the customer wants to add all these things in. If there's a clip spec job for it, we're pushing for the contract people to go, cool, we'll make notes of what you want, but it will be, clip spec will be updated and re-raised with those changes, rather than having the clip spec document and then additional ones, and they're not quite sure, have we paid the electrician for them? Has it been done? What are we ordering? Where's it go? So, yeah, that sort of things, you know. But no, we keep getting emails from, was it Lee Electrics going, we want to be paid for these jobs that haven't been through this way. That's, yeah, a bit more fun. The issue with the
main issue that's come about with Lee is the price file. It's fixed now, but on jobs that I seen.
Yeah,
Before.
there was a lot, oh yeah, was it you that replied saying, guys, I don't think.
Yeah.
I just said, I just said, send me a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
What am I doing then? Does price increase?
Well, ClipSpec doesn't have the capability to run separate price files for separate suppliers. So the way that the electrical system was always set up was based on one price file,
And they all.
and every electrical contractor followed that pricing.
this is what we pay.
Electrics came along and put in their own price increases that was differing to what Dynamic had set, and it was always set off Dynamic's price file. They had differences in pricing on different items between the two, and so ClipSpec was always kept to Dynamic's price. So any ClipSpec job that went out to Lee was with Dynamic's pricing.
Before they put their own increase, they were all on the same.
So now Lee's accepted Dynamic's pricing, and so it's all unified again. But any jobs that have been sent through.
Do you want to keep
ClipSpec
working for
with
us? This
that
is what we pay.
different pricing still needs to be raised. That's the difference.
That's
Which they're sending a check through to RE.
Yeah, they already said that. I think the total was like £13,000. No, I was expecting quite much.
But yeah, hopefully too, because the other thing I've noticed, so with the jobs moving forward, we're putting on all the correct icons for the power for the oven, the rain shield, all that sort of thing. So that should also keep the electricians happier, because it's now all going through by ClipSpec. Whereas I noticed in a lot of the older jobs, you know, especially I'm guessing when it was outsourced for that period of time, that, you know, literally the kitchen's empty and there's no icons for anything to do with the kitchen. So they're eventually part of that, which will always come back and go, well, you haven't paid me to install the oven or the range shield or the, so that in the jobs moving forward also will now be better. So hopefully we should get less back from the electrician saying, oh, you haven't paid us to do X, Y, Z, because we're trying to put everything in there. We've actually set up what we call, I suppose, templates into ClipSpec. So we're slowly working through all the house types. And what we can do is actually stick in there before we start. So each job starts with a set pile of items. So everything that comes with the house automatically preloads when we open the job for a D8. It'll come up with everything as a sound inclusion on the D8, already on the plan and ready to go. We then just insert the customer's plan and then go through with what they want to do. So that should also reduce the amount of errors in terms of, you know, we missed a rain shield or we missed that.
I guess like if they do like a grand moving, then you move around the.
Yeah, but then we just, yeah, so literally it's there, we just reshuffle to suit the customer and then add in what they want. But rather than having to try and, you know, keep adding everything from scratch every time, which is what they used to do. No wonder things got, you know, missed and this isn't there, that isn't there. It's got these, it's not supposed to have them.
Yeah, no, that's.
So that should hopefully reduce, so it makes it more efficient our end from a prep point of view, and should hopefully reduce the amount of missing items from electrical. Because literally if it's drawn on the plans, it'll be on the price file.
Yeah.
So they should have, no, that sort of thing should hopefully reduce quite a bit as well.
Cool.
But yeah. New fun all around, but hopefully it'll start to make things flow a little bit easier.
Speak to Di quickly or not? They're in the next one too, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in the next one too, yeah. Cool, anything else for Chris before he wraps up?
We have a quick break and come back again.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No, cool. All right, well, thanks for that, Chris.
That's all right.
Everybody else on things, maybe just tell them to sort of stay on, I guess.
No, it's a different one.
Different meeting.
Oh, it's a different meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so just maybe tell Di.
Yeah, this is going to echo if you want to mute. All right. All right. We're gonna end this meeting. We've got another meeting starting in another 15 minutes. So we will just end this one. We'll start a new recording of the new one. We'll download both and send across to Di once we're done after today.
Yes.
All right, you all good,
15
Di?
minutes. 15 minutes.
I'm turned everything down. Say again.
Yes, yes.
All good?
Okay, we'll see you in the next meeting.
See you in 15.
Yep. 50 minutes.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
See ya. Where are you going?